What's up, everybody? Tim Nunn, Elite Property Maintenance. So, you've kicked it around, and you believe now is the time for you to open up your own business. Go into business for yourself, be your own boss, and you want to enter the world of lawn and landscaping. Or actually, maybe it's not just lawn and landscaping. Maybe you're thinking about a coffee shop, a restaurant, hair salon, barber shop. Who knows? Maybe it's a pantyhose factory. Doesn't matter. The question is do you have what it takes to be successful? Do you have it? I mean, do you really have it? You know how to make it work and you're in it for the long haul. Do you really have it? Not a lot of people do, but you think you do, huh? Well, let's find out. Let's find out now. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to Elite Property Maintenance. I was originally going to shoot this video outside and kind of do a shop tour, if you would, and kind of get this channel off and rolling, but Mother Nature had a different plan, and very shortly it started pouring rain. So we're inside. This is my home office, if you will, which is probably better way to get this started. So many of us, I know, we focus, we love seeing the videos, the 2020 setups, and even prior setups, and maybe where a company's going or what their equipment is. That's inherent in all of us to want to know that. But and we're going to address that as time goes along. But just to let you know what I'm intending to do with this channel is, when I started my lawn and landscaping business, even though based on my prior career, I had an extensive business knowledge, how to start a business, how to make a business move, how to grow a business, how to handle return on investment, how to manage assets, how to manage liabilities, all those things, employees, hiring, firing. Even though I had that whole repertoire in my tool belt, the one thing that was missing was really the steps that a person should take, or I should say person or persons or whomever should take to really get their business off the ground and get it rolling. And that's what we're going to talk about. Now, we're going to talk about a lot of things. Every video is going to be a segment dedicated to helping you get your business started. Now, I say started. Now, I mean go the distance. We're going to discuss everything there is to discuss. Now, every one of the videos that I will shoot, just because of keeping your attention, they're probably going to be 10, 15 minutes or so in length, but they will be fruitful. They will be packed full of a lot of information. We're going to build a house from the foundation up. As you know, nothing is stronger than its foundation. So we're going to go brick by brick in the foundation. We're going to talk about some things and how to get your business started, the how-tos, the best way, best practices, and help you get it going. Now, I know you've heard that. We're going to help you. I'm here to help you, here to grow your business with you, blah, 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 blah. And here's what I would say about the help part. There is no shortage, as you know, and there's some fantastic companies online right now that I have no problem in promoting them as far as YouTube is concerned, and I enjoy them all. I still watch them to this day. But the one thing that's missing, or was missing for me when I started my business, was, even though there was a lot of information, they only took me to the edge. They never gave me all that I felt like I needed, without, of course, a dollar figure. In other words, for X dollars, we're going to send you this newsletter once a month, or for this amount of money, we're going to hold this class. We want you to come attend, or come to this academy. And all of them, even though very fruitful, I'm sure, came with an astronomical dollar figure that just didn't make sense for me in my business or how life was going for me at that time. So maybe you're like that. Well, what I want to do is I want to remove that. I am not going to charge you a quarter. And my definition of help, and really according to Webster's, help is not defined as money. In other words, if I say I'm coming to help you, I'm going to come help you move, or come help you to do whatever, that doesn't come with a fee. Now, if I say I'm going to provide you with a service, such as what we do, lawn and landscaping services, certainly that comes with a fee. That comes with a price. But help should never come with a price. So I'm here to help you. And as I said before, we're going to start this one step at a time. We're going to go through it. Stay with me. I promise there's going to be something in here for everybody. I don't care if you're that true rookie. Maybe you're still in the planning stages. Maybe you're focusing on jump-starting your business in 2021. Or maybe you've just gotten started and you're looking for ways to increase business. Or possibly you're that company or individual that's been around for 5, 10, 15 plus years. And you're just looking for a way to get out of the lull possibly that you're in, or you've hit a brick wall, or you're struggling finding employees or quality employees. Whatever that is, we're going to discuss it and we're going to talk about it together. And the best part about it is, as the old saying goes, when one person teaches, two learn. As I talk about these videos, I'm going to be helping myself too. And let's face it, I want my business to continue growing, continue getting strong, and continue being fruitful. That's what we're all in this for. So as I go along this, each video is going to be a chapter. We're going to do this as if we were in a classroom setting and you were sitting in front of me. I'm going to talk about it in that fashion. I'll give examples. I'll give you some history on things I have done that's helped me and has allowed me to grow to where I'm at today. And I'm proud to say that in the last 3 years, I've had 100% growth every year. So things are booming for me. I'm at the point now where I'm having a brush away business. In fact, I am changing my business model. And I'm going to talk about that later. And as far as when I set out in this business, where I wanted to go and then where I'm ending up going. So we're going to talk about that too. Because some of you may have that same mentality. You've got a plan, but as you know, life is all about adapting. You never know what's coming around the corner. So there again, we're going to help you through that. Each video, as I said, is going to be a chapter discussing a specific subject. So stick with me, hang in there. And right now we're going to go ahead and just jump into it. Let's start with chapter 1. Okay, so chapter 1. Chapter 1 is going to be broken down into 3 small segments. And you'll know when we transition from one to the next. Everything inside of chapter 1 is, I'm going to say 99.9% of the things that most people don't necessarily think about, or they don't necessarily connect them to the success or failure of their business. But I guarantee you, if you allow these things to marinate in your mind, you'll digest them a little bit and think about them, you'll understand it and agree with me that it is true, especially those of you who've been in the business for quite some time. So you're prepared to start your business. Now let me just tell you where you need to start. First and foremost, you need to start up here. It is called doing a checkup from the neck up. Get your head right. Now, along this journey of you going into business for yourself, I would love to sit here and tell you your fan base is going to be extreme, but reality of it is you're probably going to have a whole lot more foes than friends. Reality of it is you may even need to do a little sifting of your social media accounts, your friends. I'm not saying kick anybody to the curb. I'm just saying that you got to be careful with whom you surround yourself with. People inherently want you to fail. They're not looking for you to succeed. So if you don't have your head right, a lot of those things will affect you. A lot of those things will take you off your game. You will find yourself going from 100 miles per hour to 10 miles per hour really fast. And it's real important in the initial phases of your startup that you maintain that enthusiasm, that you maintain that drive that is in you to succeed. Yes, you're going to meet some bumps. Yes, you're going to have some failures. Yes, it's just going to happen. That's called life and that's called living. But I've found, and I think most of you would agree, if you got this right, everything else falls into play. As a slogan that I heard growing up as a child is, get your mind right and your ass will surely follow. And I know that is true. Success or failure begins here. If I leave out every day and I have a positive frame of mind, obviously there's going to be a positive result. It's the laws of physics. For every action, there's an equal yet opposite reaction. If I approach things with a positive thought, a positive direction, a positive frame of mind, positivity will inevitably attract to me. Now flip it. I'm going to start every day negative. I'm going to start every day and not know what's coming. Or I'm going to listen to Billy Joe Jim Bob chatter in my ear that I don't need to do this. I need to go back to my 8 to 5, or I need to go back to that hourly wage job I used to have, or that dead-end career that I had going on. All of us got into this industry for a reason. For me, I was slap burnout in my prior career. I was miserable. I'd gotten up every day and I hated going to work, and I needed that to change. I always, my entire life, have loved lawn and landscaping. It was always a go-to, something I did on the side, just a career. And I was told many years ago I should have done this years ago, and I didn't listen then, and I wish I had. But everything in life happens for a reason, as we know. When I came into mine, I was so energized. I was so desiring of that new phase. I was loving life in the fact that now I'm gonna be outside. I'm gonna hear the birds singing. I'm gonna feel the breeze blowing in my face. All that I couldn't wait to get it. So my mentality or my mind was just on fire, and I would encourage all of you to be the same. Let this be something you're constantly chasing. Imagine that you're just constantly chasing your happiness. Forget success. Don't worry about counting money. All that's important. But right now, you just need to get your head right. And by head right, that means having a plan. Before you started your business, assuming you've already started it, you sat down with a pencil and a piece of paper, you sketched it out, or at least I hope you did. You sketched it out, you sketched out a plan. Well, every day of your life needs to be a plan today. If you don't, all you're going to do is walk out, get in your vehicle, and you're just going to drive around. Maybe you've only got a handful of accounts. Maybe you have no accounts. You've got to start it fresh. Positive frame of mind, start there. Get your mind right. Then when you greet people, you meet people, you talk to people, you're going to talk with positivity. You're not going to talk with negativity. You're not going to be a funeral home director. You're going to talk to people, and they're going to sense and they're going to feel that energy coming off of you, and they will constantly attract to you. They will just navigate towards you. But if you don't have that right, your mind's not right first and foremost, everything else is going to fall. I promise you everything else is going to fall. So begin here, get your mind right. If you're a religious person, I would say spend some time in prayer. Matter of fact, do that all the time, daily especially. But spend some time in prayer. Read some books, read some manuals, read some positive things that can get you energized and get your mind right. That's number one. The second section of this segment, and this is going to be directed to your spouse. If you are married, you're in a long-term relationship, maybe you're in a short-term relationship that just got started, but it's got longevity seemingly coming behind it. Or let's just say maybe you're just a single person. You've not gotten into a relationship yet. There's still someone in the background. There's still a brother, sister, mother, father, grandparents, aunt, uncle, somebody that's behind you that's helping you. Could possibly be, in many of these cases, your bankroll. In other words, maybe your spouse or your significant other now is going to carry the water. You've been the constant breadwinner. Maybe it's a double system. Maybe you've worked hand in hand together. And now that other person now is going to carry the load while you get your business started. Now, I've got news for you. If you haven't planned this already, please plan it this way. Your first several months in this business is going to be dry. I'm sorry to tell you that. Unless you're just starting off the business, if you've seen the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, I'm going to call it The Wolf of Main Street. So unless you're just immediately started out with a boatload of accounts, maybe you, by Wolf of Main Street, meaning you live in a subdivision and now you're going to do most of the subdivision. You don't even need a vehicle to travel. You just pull right out of the driveway and go to the neighbor's house. Unless you're blessed that way, and you're probably not, or unless you're in a large, let's just say a downtown area or neighborhood, and you're going to capture 3/4 of it just because they know who you are. Most of us, and probably nobody, is going to be blessed like that. You're going to have to go out and you're going to have to get the business. The person or people that's supporting you need to understand that during that time period of startup, it's thin pickings. There's not a ton of money coming in. In fact, you're going to be spending a lot of it just getting started, just the basic stuff. Now, we're going to talk about startup and the basics of equipment as in the segments coming ahead. But right now, we're just simply talking about your immediate income. What do you have coming in versus what do you have going out? You're going to be spending money on fuel. You're going to be spending money on the basics of equipment, things that you need. Everything's going to impact you at first. And as I said, unless you're just blessed with a bulk of business, or you're inheriting a business, or you're buying out a business, or you're coming on the heels of someone in your family that had the business and you're just taking it over. And if you are, God bless you. I mean, that's fantastic. High five. But if you're like me and like most of us, you're starting with nothing. It's a process. It's going to take time. Now, the reason I mentioned that support staff, your husband, wife, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, whomever that person is because this is where the communication needs to be paramount. They need to know in your life what's going on at that moment. Now, I don't mean you got to give them a play-by-play or every 5-minute detail of what you did that day. I just mean there needs to be communication. I mean, you need to understand that you're now in business. I know when I first started and I started getting accounts rolling, days got long. I mean, most of you are going to agree with what I'm saying here. You're leaving before sunup or real close. You're coming home sometimes after the sun goes down. If your spouse or significant other or whomever's involved with you in life isn't prepared for that change, you're inevitably going to get negativity coming off of them, and you don't need that. You're going to hear it. Well, the kids don't know who you are anymore. I never see you anymore. Or our relationship's going down the tubes. And I mean, there's just not an understanding there of what it takes for you to be successful. You got to spend time with them. You've got to encourage them along the way of what you're doing and why you're doing it. Number one, I must be honest and say that I'm incredibly blessed. My spouse, my significant other, my bride, she's also in business. In fact, we share the same name. I'm Elite Property Maintenance. She's Elite Salon Spa and Tanning. She is in the salon business. She honestly works more than I do. So I am blessed from the perspective that she knows what it takes to make a business work. She knows what it takes to keep the lights on. She spends just as much time with the door locked as she does with the door unlocked. So she gets it. I'm blessed that way. I'm blessed that she was there to support me in my startup. That if I needed something, she was encouraging me how to go about getting it, or giving me her tidbits. I spent a lot of time in discussion with her, which is I would encourage you guys to do. Whether it's daily, every other day, or at least weekly, sit down with whomever that support staff that you have is. As I said, cover them all. Talk it out. Let them know where you're at. Let them know what's going on in your life. Communication is the key to success. Absolutely is the key to success. If you say it's not, just move on, because I disagree with you entirely. You have got to talk. You've got to communicate, because if you're not, you're lost. I've used this terminology a lot of times when I've taught training classes over the years in life. I'm a Floridian by birth. So let's just pretend that you're in the port of Miami or in Miami Beach and you want to go to Cuba. You're in a boat, yacht, whatever that mode of nautical transportation is. Which roughly, and we're not going to argue about it, let's just say for conversation it's 100 miles from Florida to Cuba. If your navigational coordinates are off by 1 degree, not only will you not make it to Cuba, you won't even see Cuba. So the point of that is when you pull it back over to what we're doing, you got to communicate, you got to talk it out, you got to plan out, discuss with him everything in your life, check your ego at the door, stop feeling like you're 10 feet tall and bulletproof, and let your chest bulge and say, I don't need anybody, by God, I can do this myself. That is wrong thinking. You've got a lot of people supporting you and a lot of people in your corner. And also, one thing you need to think about here for a minute is that support staff can and should be a huge advertisement for you as you start up. Think about it this way. Every member in your support staff, every member in your family, as I said, your spouse, all of them, your extended family, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, not only are they possibly a customer, but all of them know people. Word can spread fast. Check your ego, communicate with your family, let them know what you're doing, and then watch your business flourish, and I promise you that it will. Just be patient. So there again, pair the first two up that we've discussed. Still got one more to go. Get your head right. Get your support staff. You couldn't have two greater foundational bricks than those two things right there together. I promise you. Get them right. Now the third one's going to be a little bit more fun. For those of you who own your businesses, you've got multiple employees, you're going to know where I'm going with this one right out of the chute. If you're not and you're a solo operator, let me say this to you too. Many of you are affected by what I'm about to call right now. And this is one that over my years has probably been a source of heartburn for me so many times. So we're going to talk about it now. And that is this. A cell phone. Now, one could argue this might be the greatest invention or the greatest implementation of technology in our lifetimes. You know, giving away my age a little bit, I remember when a microwave oven came into play. I'm not too old, but I remember that. I remember VHS tapes, if you guys remember VCRs. I remember laser discs, if you remember those. I remember the first time a CD player was ever put into an automobile. Many of you remember that. All I'm getting at here is a cell phone can be a boat anchor or it can be the greatest tool your business has ever had. Now here, let's talk about the pros. Let's start with pros. Pros. You're in constant communication not only with your client base, but you're on social media. I mean, name the social media. I mean, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. I mean, the hits just go on and on and on and on and on. Facebook. This is a huge tool. I mean, you can video, take shots, take pictures of your befores, your afters, show your work as you should. That is absolutely your report card, but it's also your show and tell, as to speak. I mean, let people know what you're doing, how you're doing it, and let them see the fruits of your labor. That's number one. Those are the pros. Now let's talk about the negatives, which is where my heartburn comes in. There's some of you that absolutely can't turn this thing loose. You absolutely cannot get rid of this. Constantly, every 10, 15 minutes, it's going off. Ping, ping. It sounds like a slot machine in Las Vegas. You are constantly in communication with your significant other. Now, I am not a marriage counselor. I'm not a couples counselor. I am not any of that at all. Not even close. But if you need that constant communication, there is something wrong with your relationship. It is time for you to take a hard look at it. Now, whether that's you don't trust he or her, or they don't trust you, whichever way that goes, it's time you get that in check. You're on the job. You cannot be in constant use of this. I mean, it's just, it doesn't make sense. I have a policy. Here's my policy. When I'm at a customer's house, when I'm at a client's home, performing a service in which they are paying me for, I absolutely will not use a cell phone while I'm there. It's not a slavery thing, but while I'm there, they own me. When I'm there, I am on their clock. I need to give them full attention. I need them to know that they're the most important thing in my life at that moment in time. Dance with the one that brought you. Spend time with it. Cultivate them. That one account, you should treat it like it's the only one you've ever had, the only one you're going to have anytime soon. And if I'm walking around talking on a cell phone, or I'm over there hiding in the bushes and I'm texting, what does that say to my client? Or more importantly, if you got coworkers or your boss, or you are the boss, what is that saying to your employees if you're over there constantly texting or talking on the telephone? I mean, if you got like I said before, nothing wrong with it. If you're cultivating a new relationship and you guys are, smoochy smooch, sending hearts and kisses, or you're sexting or whatever, every relationship needs that. There's a phase you go through. I get it. But you're better off going back to number 2 and communicating and saying, look, I'm at work today. I can call you or communicate with you on my break or my lunch or whatever. But while I'm at work, I have to work. This is not an at-work vacation day. This is not a day for me just to do whatever I want to do. I got to focus on my job, and I got to focus on what I'm doing. I'll text you or call you later. Now, if it's an emergency, totally different. 911, totally different conversation. I'm not discussing that part. I'm just discussing the use of a cell phone during the day. Disconnect from this. Because this can also be a source of negativity. If you got a crazy baby mama, as they say, I hate that term, but I'm going to use it to be funny, or you got a crazy husband or boyfriend or whomever you have, if they're nutso, that's going to drive you crazy all day long. You're not going to get anything done. They're going to get in your head, which is what we talked about earlier, get your mind right. It's absolutely positively a recipe for disaster. Listen to me, a recipe for disaster. And if you're the employer and you got a bunch of employees and that's all they're doing is on their cell phones, let me just say for the record, those are short-term employees. Eventually they're gone because they're not focusing on what's most important. They're not focusing on success of the company. They're not focusing on your calling card, which is your quality of work and the time that you give a client when you're at their home. Remember that. That's huge. That is huge. So, even though you might not think chapter 1 is the razzle dazzle of all channels, I promise you there's so much more to come. And remember, a house is built with a foundation and bricks and pillars. That's what we're building here. So stick with me. We're gonna dig into all this, as I said before. But recapping chapter 1, get your head right, communicate with your support staff, your spouse, whomever, and get rid of the cell phone. Use it for business. Use it to blow your business up. But as far as drama, disconnect from it. As far as stupidity, disconnect from it. Focus on what's important. Are you in this to be success, or are you in this to fail? Do you want to be one of the 9 out of 10 that fail, or do you want to be that 1 out of 10 that succeeds? Do you want to have exponential growth? Do you want to have 100% growth year after year? Y-O-Y as they call it, year over year. Do you want that? Or do you just want to be average? or mediocre? Or do you just want to do this for a short period of time and then move on to some other career that you call it? Get it right, guys. Come on. Let's make this successful. I am not that company that wants to see anybody fail. In fact, I'm the opposite. I encourage competition. Competition makes you stronger. Competition makes you better. Competition drives you. Success can be lonely. And let me just say this from coming out of the career that I used to be in. There is no greater feeling, no greater feeling than to have someone or somebody you're competing with and competing against. And it's done in a gentlemanly format and you're pushing each other and one person wins. Here's the most beautiful thing about that process. You may have a winner, but I guarantee you both participants were on fire. Both of them gave it everything they have. The winner was probably by a nose. It doesn't matter. You drive each other, you push each other. Allow those other companies to push you. Allow those other companies to drive you. Get rid of the negative. And that's what this whole chapter is about, if you think about it, is negative. Getting your mind right, getting rid of the negative. Getting your support staff right, getting rid of the negative. Getting rid of the cell phone, getting rid of the drama and the negativity. Look, you can play Candy Crush later. You can text your girlfriend later. You can text your boyfriend later. You can text your partner later, whomever that may be. But for right now, come to work to work. Come to work to be successful. Everything else will fall into place. Hope you enjoyed chapter 1. Slip me one of these. Give me a thumbs up. And I would encourage you, please subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to put up videos at least once a week, if not multiple times a week. Every chapter is going to be on a different subject. Every chapter is going to be the building blocks to get this rolling. And I just wanted to touch on chapter 1 to implement the things that I think are most important and the things I have watched people fail at over the years. So stay with me. Thanks again, Elite Property Maintenance, Tim Nunn. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.